Welcome to Primetime Analysis. I am Victor Onyango. Now, supporters of Raila Odinga countrywide remain on high alert. This is after emerging reports that there is an assassination attempt towards Raila Amolo Odinga. This comes after today's rally where Raila Odinga's elder brother, Oburu Odinga, revealed that the Kenya Kwanza regime has formed a special killer squad aimed at targeting Raila Odinga and his supporters on the day of Maandamano, which is on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. This has also been heightened by the cryptic tweets from CS Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria made a tweet, in fact, a series of tweets, in the effect that he will die on Wednesday 19th and he will be buried on Saturday 29th. Joey. If you look at this tweet, that is what he tweeted. And then he also said that there is a cash reward for someone that is 50 million Kenya shillings. These comments or these tweets work towards making the claims that Raila Odinga's elder brother made today to be suspected to be true. Because first of all, we cannot be faulted for thinking that that is a plan that this government can have against Raila Odinga's life. Remember that the last two demonstrations that Raila Odinga has attended, his car has been aimed at by live bullets. Even just recently, the other day, his car that he uses was totally destroyed, windows shattered all over. And therefore, this seems to be a credible plan. Now, in this analysis, I want us to look and analyze the reasons behind William Ruto's or his regime's threat towards Raila Odinga's life. But before we do that, I want us to ask ourselves one question. Do you think that is something that this regime can do? Do you think William Ruto can aim at Raila Odinga's life and have him killed? That's a question that you should ask yourself. But if history serves us right, governments have killed people that they seem or they think to be a problem to them. You know, Robert Ouko was killed, and to date, no one has been brought to book. Thomas Joseph Mboya was killed. Just recently, you know the deaths of people like Mesha Kiebei. You know the deaths of people like Jacob Juma. You know the deaths of people like Chris Msando. So it is not something that is far-fetched that a regime can have a killer squad to kill people and eliminate them totally. But then here we are talking about Raila Amolo Odinga. And knowing who he is and knowing what he is, his life has been targeted many times, but he has survived it to date. And for the years he has lived, for the contributions he has made in this country, I believe for him, his life cannot be that precious to him over Kenya. And in many instances, he has said that if a time comes that he has to give his blood to save this country for the betterment of this country, he is ready to walk the talk. But let's not imagine the unthinkable happening. In this analysis, let us look at the key reasons why William Ruto and his regime are throwing threats of even targeting Raila Odinga's life. Because if you hear and if you remember what Rigathi Gachagua said, he said that we will finish this mzee once and for all. Finishing Raila Odinga once and for all, having been a problem to many governments, is generally interpreted to be eliminating him, because there is no other way. Or you can incapacitate him, you can make him not talk, you can make him keep quiet. The only way you can do that is through killing him, because every other means has been tried, but they have failed. So I want us to look at the reasons why this government is so much threatening the life of Raila Odinga. But before we do that, first of all, let me thank each and every one of you for the support that you give us. I appreciate each and every one of you who has taken time to subscribe to our channel. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. And if you have not subscribed, please kindly hit that subscription bell and subscribe to our channel, and let us grow together. For those who have subscribed, we thank you, and that support, we do not take it for granted. First reason why I think William Ruto and his regime are seriously after Raila Odinga's life, not necessarily to kill him per se, but the threat of killing him. You know, they say in the Bible that when you hit the leader, the sheep disperses. That is the strategy that William Ruto and his regime are trying to implement. They are using a scaremongering strategy to scare anybody who might want to think that they will go and join in those demonstrations, that they are targeting their leader. And if their leader, whom they believe is a superhero, is the one whom they can plan against, what about you, little person? And therefore, first of all, for me, I think it is a strategy used just to scare people away from joining the demonstrations. Because Kenyans all over have shown support for the demonstrations, and many of them are coming voluntarily without any persuasion from anybody. Raila Odinga is just acting as the face of it. The William Ruto regime is using this strategy as a way through which he can scare supporters of Raila Odinga and anybody who is thinking of going for demonstrations, that their life is in their hands. And therefore, for me, I do not think that they can just eliminate him, because looking at his stature, looking at his connections, and even the communication that the UN Human Rights Commission has given, I do not think they can go that extra mile to bring anarchy in this country. They know the repercussions of trying to do what they're talking about. And I believe they cannot try doing that. But it is just a strategy that is aimed at scaring anybody from going to join Raila Odinga in that demonstrations. The second reason why I think this is something that can be thought about, and this is something that maybe can be implemented, is that Raila Odinga is the only politician in this country who can marshal a huge and a large crowd and oppose this government. Assuming there is no Raila Odinga, as at now for this government, I know there are people who can come up and oppose this government effectively, but assuming the element of Raila Odinga is not there, Kenyans, to some extent, may not gather the courage to face the government directly. And therefore, Raila Odinga is a nuisance to this government. And wherever they are sitting, the thought of Raila Odinga sends them scared away because they are wondering how one person can circumvent laws and security forces. And no matter how many people they kill, these people still come back and pour out themselves in demonstrations. And that is why today, when William Ruto was talking in Homa Bay, he said that we will need now to have a conversation about demonstrations because we must ask ourselves, how many lives must be taken away for us to say that a demonstration has succeeded? The second reason why I think there is need to eliminate Raila Odinga and make him get out of politics in Kenya totally is that the regime that I see is not a regime that is thinking of one term. I am of the opinion that the claim from a member of parliament from Northeastern who said that there is a need to revise and amend this constitution to allow for more terms for a president, that was not just a fault. I believe it was something that the government tried to do to test waters and see how it will be received. And if it was not to test waters, it was used to prepare you psychologically that in one way or the other, there will be a time when that kind of a thought may be pursued. Looking at William Ruto and looking at Rigathi Gachagua, these people are very proud, they are very arrogant, they are very vengeful, and someone would think that they will stay in power forever. I thought that when a president has gotten power to rule or to lead, he must be magnanimous and be a symbol of national unity, but not scaremongering all over here and there, scaring people and threatening people with different kind of repercussions. For me, I think the main reason why Raila Odinga is a problem to this regime is that they have a plan to extend their term in office. And with Raila Odinga, that might not be possible. Look at the friends of William Ruto. One of his best friends is Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Another of his friends is Paul Kagame. They say that you are a sum total, or you are the average of the sum total of your friends. For me, I think the thought of extending term limits has crossed the mind of William Ruto. And the only stumbling block that is standing between him and that is that Raila Odinga is here and may, in one way or the other, create a very serious opposition to that thought that it may not live to see the light of day. Therefore, for me, I think in their plan to extend their term limits, they may want Raila Odinga to be totally rendered out of politics and to pursue other things or get eliminated completely. The third reason why I think this regime is so obsessed with writing off Raila Odinga away from politics and to some extent even the thought of killing him and assassinating him may come to those in power is that the regime that we have did not support 2010 constitution. And this constitution has given Mwananchi a lot of power that needs to be revised according to some quarters of the executive. With Raila Odinga, I remember even the first time when this constitution had been promulgated, Mwai Kibaki tried to appoint Judge Vishram to be the Supreme Court judge, president, or the Chief Justice. When he did that, Raila Odinga opposed that, and the courts affirmed that the president was wrong in singularly appointing the Chief Justice. And a panel was created where we had Willy Mutunga appointed. Therefore, I think because they do not believe in this constitution, they would want a scenario in which they have power to overthrow this constitution and even dilute it and amend it to make it more weak. If you hear what Kithure Kindiki has been saying, and there is also that member of parliament, I don't know from Baere or where, who has been talking about amending how people demonstrate. They feel that the constitution gave Kenyans free power, excess that they should not have. And therefore, as a government, they need to limit these rights. For this reason, a government that does not believe in constitutionalism may want to have people and beacons who fought for the constitution and who do not allow any change to water down the rights of Kenyans to get eliminated. They may want to eliminate him, and once he's out, they will have this constitution and do with it what they want. I want to tell you one thing, and this is what I believe. Some of you may think that I have overthought about it, but I believe that even the rulings by the courts, the reason why the government is striving so much to abide by them is because of the wrath they know they may face from Kenyans mobilized around Raila Amolo Odinga. If they do that, for example, look at the Finance Act that is now suspended by the courts. The government is implementing taxation, VAT, doubling of VAT to 16%. That is given. But there are aspects of this act that are not being implemented. For example, the deduction of the housing levy. This is a free cash that the government knew once the bill has passed, they will start getting that cash of around 90 billion every month. And that can work to do something reasonable for the government. If they were not going to obey the courts, they knew we are going to start deducting this money and we are going to use it in the things that we have planned. So for me, I think, having been an opposer of this constitution, and by the fact that looking at him and the warning he gave last week that the courts should let them implement their agenda, I believe William Ruto feels the constitution is seriously suffocating him and his hands are tied, and therefore, to ensure that he does not get the wrath directly from Kenyans, he needs to eliminate Raila Amolo Odinga or make him to be rendered useless in Kenya's politics. So I do not know what you think. I do not know what it's your take. But we must be afraid for Raila Odinga. But let's keep praying for him so that God may protect his life. But what I believe, this is just a scaremongering strategy to scare his supporters into submission and make them not turn up into joining the demonstrations. Even if you look at the meeting that the president has had with members of parliament, it's a way of trying to mobilize them to go and campaign and send the government message to the people. So that aspect of trying to eliminate Raila Odinga in it, I do not think it is that heavy. Because if it were heavy, it would have been implemented long time ago. That's my take. Please remember to subscribe and join us in growing together. Thank you, and may God bless you.